From being a little immigrant boy with a dream coming to Canada to become a successful businessman and entrepreneur, to take care of himself and his family, and one day grow up to be a great, successful businessman, to where I am today as a 30-year-old entrepreneur. In this video, I'm gonna share with you guys my story of how I went from nothing, being broke at 24, to making 4 million at 30. So with that being said, let's get into the video. I want to take you guys back into a little bit of my childhood, then coming into my mid-20s, early 20s when I started the brand to where I am today. So starting off with my childhood, it's funny, like there's so many people out there that want to become entrepreneurs, and I feel like their intentions are not correct because they just look at the money, they chase the money, and they're like, okay, this is what I want. But I remember, if I could look back as far as I could, all I ever wanted to be was to be a businessman. My grandpa, my mom's dad, was a successful businessman, and I looked up to him so much. I remember going around and the way he was treated and the way people spoke to him, the decisions he made. I just thought he was so cool to be someone like him in power and to be able to help others. I always see him donating to people around, and the respect that he just got made me feel like this is what I want to be in life. So, and that's as far as I was only like 6 or 7 years old. I take this video to explain like what it truly means to be an entrepreneur, why you should become one, and how do you know if you are meant to become an entrepreneur as well and you're not just chasing money. So I'm going to use my story as a bit of that context here. I remember when I was just 6 or 7 years old, after seeing my grandpa do these things, like I would buy a lot of Pokemon cards, Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I go to the park, and I loved collecting. So at that point I was like, wait, there's a demand for these type of products as well that the kids in the park want. So I was like, okay, let's switch out and see if I can make a business out of this. So I do my research, what the best cards are trending right now. I'd go and buy packs and see like which ones I can collect, and then I would go and I'd start reselling them. And believe it or not, like I'd make like $5 here, $15 there, $30 there. And as much as like I would be collecting, I remember like anywhere from $50 to $80 a week for just selling these Pokemon card Yu-Gi-Oh cards, which, can you imagine, as just like less than 10 years old, it was more money than I've ever seen. So I'm like, okay, this is sick. So at that point, I just made it into a habit. I went in, if I were to buy a guitar, I'd use it, I'd flip it, and somehow I'd finesse someone to buy it for a higher price than I got it for. The whole time as I was growing up as a kid, I had these tendencies to resell, to do sales, to talk to people, sell products, sell service, like do something where I can make a buck or two. And going into my teenage years, I never really was a good student. I'd say I was a straight like C+ to B- type of student, just get things done. I just cared about like making money and selling stuff. So internet was still a new thing back then. I got the first computer that I shared with my sister, and I'm like, okay, how can I make money online? And this is me just being like 15, 14. So I see these like surveys that I can fill out. So I started making 20, $30 there. Maybe some of you guys remember those surveys back in the days. I really got into playing video games. So I remember like MapleStory or RuneScape were big back then. So I'd get good at it, and I'd get these good weapons and armor, and instead of just like using it, I'd go to the free marketplace and I'd find people that potentially would give me real money. So I'd set up PayPal. I'd be like, okay, you give me $35 and I give you this weapon or whatever. So I always tried to make some sort of monetary gain through everything that I did, because I just knew like this is what I actually enjoy doing and I can see myself doing in the future. Then it took me into my late teenage years, and I finished high school and I really got into fitness. When fitness came in my life, I got my first job at reception sales at a gym. I was only like 16, 17 years old. And I remember that changed everything for me. I was like, okay, this is my new passion. I want to get into this. I want to compete, and I'm going to be a pro athlete and all these things. So at that point, I'm like, okay. So my only goal was I'm going to become that. And it's what I did. I prepped for a show, Men's Physique. And as I was prepping for the show, I made t-shirt. I remember I called my first clothing brand Shredsville. I went around the gyms and I literally just sold it to people, 25 bucks for a shirt. It was costing me like probably $15 to $18 to make, so there was not much of a margin there. But it was just cool, like getting these products out and seeing. I did some digital printing. It was very basic with some Gildan type of t-shirts, and people supported me, and I really appreciated that. And I was like, you know what? Something can actually still happen here. It didn't. I ended up competing. I placed second. It was awesome. And at that point, just kind of stopped doing the t-shirt business stuff and went more into fitness modeling. And I did that for a few years. And it was sick, like a great experience. But I kind of lost touch of like me wanting to become a businessman. So at that time, I knew something needed to change. I got too into like partying and clubs and wrong people and all that stuff. So at that point, like going more into debt, that's pretty much where my late teens and early 20s began, where I'm like, okay, things are not going as planned. I need to switch things up. So what can I do to actually bring that Maz's childhood vision back? I remember setting up affiliate marketing with Amazon. I remember setting up my own website. It was called Live Me Fit, where I had like blogs I was writing about fitness, and I do some affiliate marketing and plug in some products, make like 10-15% commissions. I set up a marketing agency, which was helping just people on Instagram that I found, like lawyers and artists, to just grow their channels, which I had a couple programs of doing like follow strategies and engagement strategies, which ended up getting banned. But I made $100 there, $200 there, and that was sick too. I sold some programs online for fitness coaching, but nothing really like stuck to me. And I realized, and even to that point, I was like, okay, let me get more into like stock trading. And I did penny stock trading for almost 2 years, and I made $500 there and $200 there and $50 here, and I lost 300 there. And it was sick. Like I was constantly just learning stuff, but again, like something is wrong and it's just not clicking. And at that point, I knew one thing was that I knew that I was chasing money and not what I'm truly passionate about. It's something that took me so long to understand, and honestly, I wouldn't have even guessed like that was the thing that was causing me to not succeed in all the things that I want to do. And I'm like, how come my grandpa like became successful the way that he did? Or I started reading books and stuff online and self-help books and all these successful people's autobiographies, and I'm like, what is it that they're doing? And then it finally clicked to me that I can't just do the things that they're doing to be successful and make money. That's their thing. Like that's what makes them passionate. What's mine? I sat with myself and I remember like figuring out like these are all my pros. Like this are all the strengths that I have as a person, and these are all my weaknesses. Like where can I see myself aligning as a person? Where can I see myself like building my career, that I don't end up working for someone for the rest of my life, and also I don't create a business that I end up working for the rest of my life for the sake of money. And at that point I realized that it's not all the side hustles that I'm doing, it's not the competitions and I don't want to take gear to become a pro athlete, as my coaches back then were telling me, and I don't want to do stock trading to make $50 and $100 on a daily and wake up in the morning to look at charts. What I am truly passionate about is creating some awesome products that align truly with who I am, and put that out in the market and see what happens. And I remember looking back, like when I made that brand Shredsville brand and sold the 20-30 t-shirts that I did, I truly enjoyed that. I truly enjoyed the process of building and putting things together and doing the screen printing and figuring out the sizes of the fabric in the most basic way that I could back then, and selling it and seeing people wearing it. It was awesome. And I knew that I needed to create something that's gonna be bigger than myself, a product and products that then will take off and many people will wear. But what's that gonna be? I remember I finally sat with myself and I thought, okay, I'm 24 years old. I just finished my university degree that I dropped out from and came back and finished to impress my parents and fix relationships that I had broken back then in my late teenage years, early 20s. I'm sure a lot of you do as well. And I'm gonna just keep it real for this one, by the way. Like, this was my life. So yes, I was in a lot of bad relationships, and I did have a lot of bad habits, and I had no connection with God, and I was greedy, and all of these things that didn't make me a good person. But I wanted to commit to becoming better and actually go back to that Maz's childhood dream of becoming a successful person, a successful businessman, and a good human being that God is gonna like for when I get old and I truly make a difference before I leave Earth. So, and that's exactly what I'm sharing with you here as well. I remember like finishing school, I was on Instagram, and one day I saw this one supplement. I can't remember the name now. It was a nootropic supplement. I'm like, oh, that's sick. Like, this person is getting a lot of traffic. Like, he made a nootropic formula that helps in mental focus, and there's not much like that in the market too. So I wonder if I could do something like that. And for whatever reason, like, I was like an aha moment, like, this is what I want to try. So exactly what I did. I went out, I found manufacturers, and I put something together. I researched every single ingredient that would be good to make a proper nootropic that's healthy. I got each ingredient tested. I had no money to do these things too, but I was just saving a couple $100 here and there and really spending on whatever I had. So then months went by, and I remember 3 months into that planning and talking to manufacturers and sourcing this product, I finally made Dopamind, and that was the turning point for my life. It's where First Health began. It's what changed everything for me. Almost 6 years ago is when I started that, from 24 to now being 30. And it's incredible to look back at the journey to see that me reflecting on why this actually worked. And it's because it came out of true passion. It came from good intentions. It wasn't money driven. It was something that I could see myself doing for the rest of my life, and it was something that I could build on for the rest of my life. It doesn't just stop at, let's say, just stock trading, or it doesn't just stop at creating a supplement. This was the brand. I could do so much under it, and exactly what I did. So that was my chapter into my early 20s. And I'm gonna take you into where First Health started to where I am now. It's even like being in this warehouse right now, I'm thinking like, damn, I have this going on, all these orders on the side are going out. I have my gym and my storefront next door, over 10,000 square feet of space that First Health has. I didn't have any of this 5-6 years ago. I literally started off from my house, my parents' house. I remember when Dopamind was a thing, I brought it up and I went around different gyms and I'm like, hey, can I set up demos? I'd like to sell this product. I got people to try it. I got some feedback. I ended up making a couple adjustments to it as well in the ingredients. And then I'm like, okay, I did one product, maybe let me try another product. So I created IsoHealth, which was a grass-fed isolate protein that was like lightly flavored with some sick branding. And I'm like, great, so that's another product. And I made vitamins, and I made omegas and fish oils, and that's okay. This can actually become a thing. So at that point, I was like, all right, great. So I spoke to my childhood friend. I was like, hey, do you want to open up a supplement store together? And he's like, I'm down. So like sick. So this is also like pre-virus times, and we got on this new project, this exciting journey. He was working at the army, and I was just quitting my banking job at the time. So like, okay, let's go all into this. We got some savings. We got a little bit of a loan from our parents, and then we just went right into it. But this is kind of where everything gets interesting, because you start your journeys off and you're like, okay, finally, I did all my grinding, I finished school, I did my products, I did demos and testing, like I got the money, I'm building my store, and now I'm gonna be successful and everything's gonna work out. And the market shot us right in the face, because what happened is that when we were in the process of building this storefront that kind of would compete with the GNCs and the Popeyes and have our own supplement line, because that was the vision back then, we're like, everything is working out. The virus comes around, closes everything. All of our money is dumped into that, and we close the doors. So we're like, hey, well, shit, what now? You know? And this is where, like, I guess my true entrepreneurial tendencies started to awaken, where I'm like, my backs are against the wall. I went all into this, and I know I want this so bad because finally, like, something hit where I'm like feeling good about myself and something that actually is working and I can see myself growing into. So then I sat and I just thought and did what I could for some time, and I'm like, okay, another aha moment. I need to go back into clothing and I need to do this properly under First Health, and I need to go online. At that point, I spoke to Iggy. I was like, okay, this is a plan. This is what we're gonna do to save our asses. He was up for it. So I started researching, started watching YouTube videos, how to find manufacturers, how to properly like verify manufacturers, how to speak to them, how to test stuff, like whatever I could to just get things rolling. And I went and ended up finally finding some manufacturers to test with, got some products. I knew I wanted to start an activewear line, and if I wanted to succeed this time, I need to do it properly, which is going into the women's activewear market, which is a lot harder than the men's activewear line because it's just a lot more goes into it. The measurements, the fitting, the fabrics, and just the overall market is just a lot bigger when it comes to women's activewear and just clothing in general too. So I figured out some products. I remember getting a couple hundred sets. It was the last bit of money that we had left. And said, wing it, let's try it. At this point, we don't have anything else to lose. So exactly what we did. And I didn't even test the products back then fully. I just was like, all right, let's just go with it. By testing, I mean like having a small little batch, maybe getting some feedback like I did with the Dopamine, and getting reviews like, oh, is there any issues with the product? Is it see-through? Is it fit good? Blah, blah. I just did like the minimal work to get a decent amount of product and then just put it in the market and get feedback then. Exactly what we did. It took about a month and a half or so for the products to come in. And I just went around and messaging people on socials to meet up, possibly become our affiliates or do some photo shoots with us. I wanted to just start creating content. I guess some strategies align. I think like being naive in the early years like can benefit you as well, because when you don't fully understand like the risk that you're taking, then you can just really take that risk without consequences. Because looking back at it, like some of the things that I did, I'm like, damn, if I knew all the things that I know now, I would not have done half of those things for sure. But at the same time, maybe it's the things that I needed to do to become this person that I am today. So that really starts the journey of First Health Apparel. We used our storefront, First Health Supplements, that we had back then as a warehouse because we had closed the doors, and we're like, okay, let's start fresh, set up our website, set up the products, take professional photos, go around, get some models going, get some affiliates going, get feedback, get a sale here, get a sale there. And in the first few months, obviously, like it was just like a couple $100 that we made, or maybe $1,000 or 1,500 bucks, 2K. It really was just like trying to prove the formula that this can work, and understanding the market of like, hey, is this something that can be feasible? Is there mistakes that I'm making at the moment? Like, how can I improve? Whether I'm making $4,000 a month right now or $6,000 a month, which was the early months, it was me understanding what I needed to different, where to improve, so I can just keep scaling the brand. And at that point, I figured out like, okay, I'm having the time of my life, and finally I figured something out where it's working for me. And we're in the shit show of the virus and everything's closed and the supplement store didn't work, and everything that I did in the past of my childhood coming up here didn't work, but it taught me something. Every single thing taught me something to become this person that I was at that time today. And I was ready to start this apparel line the proper way with the proper mindset. And luckily it worked out. Now I would say that I got kind of lucky in that space too, because everything was shut down. More people were just online, like browsing and surfing, shopping, spending time. So I was able to really grasp the attention. So I realized that wherever your attention is as a consumer is where you need to be. So at that point, I went all into our socials. I spent all my time figuring out how to improve my strategy on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, test a bunch of content, get more people involved, get my community bigger, get more products going. And then the first year in business, we thankfully made like close to 300K, and it was insane. It was more money than I ever thought. And it didn't just come like over time too. It was a lot of strategies that we were testing out in the beginning months to just making a few grand that got us up to like 5 and 10, 15, 20 grand. So I would say that first year of business was just like understanding the market, understanding yourself, that this is what I want to do. This is what I truly enjoy, approving the formula that it can work, putting everything back into the business, not using that money to just go have fun and chill out and party and buy cars and whatever the hell else I wanted to spend, because I could have very easily back then, and I was making enough money to do that too. You're like a young lad, you're 24, 25, and suddenly you're making 10, 15 grand a month. I'm sure many of you are gonna go buy that car. I'm sure many of you are gonna go and have vacations and take time off and just chill. And it's exactly why, looking back, that I was able to scale versus a lot of, if I didn't take those steps, then I would have gotten my highs, spend all of my highs, have fun, and then I get back to my lows, and I would have just stayed in that spot forever. So I'm grateful that I didn't do that. And that took me to the next year where we're still shut down, and the attention was still online. Fully went into like everything that's working, all the strategies that are working, cutting out all the strategies that aren't working, getting into more paid marketing, and figuring out like cost per click, customer retention, these kind of things, emails, pop-ups, all that stuff, efficiency on the website, conversion, more products, and we got close to 7 figures, which was insane. So from that point on, we went into the next year in business where we passed 7 figures, went to the next year, went into the next year again where we hit almost 2, and then coming into last year and hitting close to that number again, multi 7 figures, and this year again growing from that number. I would say that we're in a position now where we have become a recognizable brand in the past 5-6 years of doing this. So it's been an incredible journey for sure. And I wanted to take this video to kind of like look back and reminisce as well, like everything that we've done and why that exactly happened too. So a couple of these key points. The top reasons of why this worked out is because my intentions were good. I went back to God and I asked for help to give me clarity, to make me a better person, to guide my path, and put in the work on a daily, making sure that I actually do the work that it's required to build a brand, because this isn't going to be an easy journey, and it isn't. It hasn't been. I've taken so many L's throughout the years to shape me into the person that I've become today, to put this brand into the place that it is today. And I know as my journey grows that I'll continue to take these L's too, but those L's are literally just learning lessons. That's what the L's are. They're not losses, they're learning lessons. And I kept my ego low. So the first year in business, I didn't show off. The second year in business, I didn't show off. Every single year, I made sure that whatever success was coming my way, that I was as humble as possible, that I was going on the internet, flexing on people of how much I'm better than everybody and how I'm going to become a millionaire and I'm going to do all these things, because that's purely immature and it comes from bad intentions and it comes from a place of ego, and it's just gonna stop your own growth, and God doesn't like that at all. So it's just a reminder for myself here too, to keep your head down always, to put in the work and always stay humble. And now it's incredible. Like I said earlier, I have over 10,000 square feet of space that First Health has. That includes our distribution center, includes our First Health storefront, it includes our gym. And I'm still just in the beginning stages. There's so much I still want to do in life. There's so much I want to do to grow this brand still and become a global brand one day where it's recognizable by millions and hundreds of millions and truly create a positive difference in the world. And I'm incredibly blessed to be on this journey with all of you guys that have been listening to me and people that have been supporting, tens and hundreds of thousands of people at this point that have been supporting our products and services and this journey. So I truly feel incredibly blessed to be in this position. And I just know that this is the formula that got me to this point today. And it's the same formula for the most part that's going to get me to the next level of 8 figures and then 9 figures. So Now I have a team of 12 to 15 people, which is insane. I have over 500 products on the site, which is insane. The fact that there's a gym here, our first location, our store, in just 5-6 years of grinding, it really shows that if you truly commit to something and you truly are who you're supposed to be, that you can make things happen in life. But at the same time, as we're coming to the end of this video, that I want to remind you guys to not become a businessman or not become a soccer player or not become a business analyst just for the sake of money. Like, we're literally given one life on earth, and please don't waste it on the sake of just making money so you can buy that nice car, so you can go on that vacation and get a Rolex, because at the end of the day, these are all just materialistic things. They're gonna disappear, they depreciate, and at the end of the day, you even depreciate. We're all gonna die. So please, if you are wanting to become an entrepreneur, and this story or this video you clicked on because you wanted to know a story so you can go and jump and do your things, that I hope it gives you a little bit of clarity that it's not going to be a fun, exciting, successful, flashy life. Like, yes, those are byproducts of becoming a successful entrepreneur. As you grow, you're obviously going to make money and you can have a better lifestyle. But if that's why you start, there's going to be so many challenges coming across your way that it's just going to put you in a way that even if you get a little bit of success in the beginning and you end up upgrading your lifestyle too quick, that you'll realize that I don't actually enjoy doing some of these things that I do. But now you're stuck with all these expenses and you have to work for it. What are you going to do? Quit and then get things repoed, go into debt and all of this stuff? No. So I encourage you guys that if you are wanting to become an entrepreneur, to please have your intentions right, to do this for the sake of becoming the best version of yourself, for the sake of having the best products and service that you want to put out in the market that actually creates a difference for other people. You're in the people's business. If there's one thing that I can leave you guys with this video, that becoming an entrepreneur, becoming a businessman is entirely people's business. And if you don't have good intentions for others, that you actually want to help them out and not the type of person that let me just make a quick buck from him and from her and use him and use her and just get everything that I can to upgrade my own lifestyle and do things for myself, I promise you and I guarantee you that that's going to catch up. And it's going to come around worse than you ever thought, because even if you were end up getting a little bit of success in the beginning, that you were actually using people to get to where you want to be, at the end of the day, no one's going to want to buy your products and it's all going to come around. So again, maybe it's not too late and maybe you haven't started yet, to make sure that your intentions are right. And this is my story of how I got to where I am today, and my intentions, God willing, were always, I would say, on the right path that helped me get to the next version of myself, the next version of my next version of myself. But without that, I wouldn't be here where I am. This is all God's work. This is all God's work. I'm just doing the daily work to become the best version of myself, the daily work to help others, to create the best products that I can, to grow a bigger team, to learn and grow, and just do what I can as a human to put out the best energy that I can. So enough with this rambling. I hope this video gives you guys a little bit of context of who I am as an owner of First Health too. I'm not sure if some of you were curious about how I got here. We have a long way to go still. I want to get this brand to 1 billion one day, inshallah, and I will. And I know this. So this video, more so just even for you guys to watch, is for me to watch and look back one day that this is what I did for 5-6 years to go from broke to a multi-7-figure brand, and what I need to do to get to 8, 9, and 10 figures one day. So that's about it. I hope this video brought you guys some value. I'm gonna leave you guys here, and yeah, see you guys in maybe a week. I don't know. See you guys soon. Peace.